Happy Freight Friday from FreightWaves at Freight Alley. If you made it this far, you've come a long way. I'm Chad Prevost.
And I'm Emily Zink. Carriers, we are talking to you, and Kyle Cunningham is here today talking about some strange statistics out of Seattle. Kyle, what do you have?
Hi, I'm Kyle Cunningham. Welcome back to another edition of the Carrier Update. Today we're going to talk about the West Coast and the East Coast, looking at some outbound rejections and inbound rejections. First, let's go over to the West Coast and let's take a look at Seattle. Now, as we look at Seattle here on the Blue Mountain, we're going to see that the inbound tender rejections are quite volatile. Now, as this Blue Mountain moves up and down, we can see that there's points in time in each month where the rejections reach a point and then quickly reverse themselves. Now, with the inbound rejections on the Blue Mountain, we see the yellow line, orange line, and white line here. Those are your outbound rejections into Seattle. So it's a quite interesting phenomenon to see all three of these lanes follow the actual inbound rejections. Now, what does this mean for you? This means that when you're heading into Seattle, take a look at your numbers and make sure that you're getting the absolute best rate possible. If there's something that someone doesn't want to do, that means you can actually go in and find a little bit more leverage and take advantage of that opportunity. Now let's go back to the East Coast and take a look and see what's happening in Virginia. Looking here in Virginia on the Blue Mountain, we can see this is the inbound tender rejections for Richmond. Now, as we roll into Richmond, we can see that there's been quite a lot of volatility over the last few months, but as of yesterday, everything in Virginia is being rejected. Now, that's up to you to decide why, but once you get to Virginia, take the opportunity to find the inbound rejections, and then once you're there, you got to find another load down the road. Now let's take a look at what's going on in Baltimore. After you've gotten yourself over to the East Coast by possibly taking advantage of those inbound rejections, you've got to get back out on the road. So looking at Baltimore, you see the purple mountain here at an 8.26% on the general outbound rejections. Now, it's always important to look at those different lengths of haul. By taking advantage of an opportunity that might be different for yourself than other carriers, you're going to find a better advantage. So let's take a look at the mid hauls at 10%, and then we can take a look at the tweener hauls at 9.45%, and then we can take a look as well at the long hauls at 13.03%. So at 13%, you're finding the absolute best opportunity out of the East Coast. Get yourself a load and get on the road for the weekend. Y'all take care.
Hi, this is Kevin Hill, and today we're going to talk about AOBRDs and a new survey that FreightWaves, E-Road, and Carrier List are doing weekly until that deadline comes to effect on December 16th, 2019. We already did the ELD, the first phase of the ELD mandate in 2017, December of 2017, but the AOBRDs were grandfathered in until this December. So we're going to survey the market for the next 6 months and see when the changeover and when carriers are planning on switching. So what we found was 20% of carriers are still using AOBRDs. And of those, 9 out of 10 are expecting to make that switch in the fourth quarter, as you can see here, about 90%. So there is a learning curve still with ELDs, and it's important not to wait too long, because the FMCSA just posted on their Facebook page last week that there will be no extensions, no leniency once December 17th comes around. If you have an AOBRD installed in your cab of your truck, you are going to get fined. So it's very important to make that switch as soon as possible. Make sure that you can get your drivers trained, and then there's product and hardware to be installed. And you can find this article every Tuesday, a new poll, a weekly poll, every Tuesday on FreightWaves.com.
Rounding out the week with a lot of great information. Of course, you're watching on YouTube, but follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and our Instagram.
We come to you each and every business day at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Thanks for tuning in. And in the meantime, don't worry, be happy.